Today we're going to share with you the story of our little escape artist who decided to go adventuring in the mountains of southern Colorado in the early morning with temperatures approaching freezing. Terrifying experience. Welcome to a special Thanksgiving episode of Adventure Outside the Lines. We are extremely grateful for our son Hudson and the fact that he's alive. Earlier this year, we had the most terrifying experience we've had as parents. Probably second only, maybe, to our son Aotl being taken to the ER as a newborn. That's another story for another time. But today we're going to share with you the story of our little escape artist who decided to go adventuring in the mountains of southern Colorado in the early morning with temperatures approaching freezing. Terrifying experience.
Last Christmas we decided to spend time with my family in Southern California, and we decided to go ahead and jump in the RV and head that way, but because of it being winter we had to take the southern route. So on our way back we decided to go ahead and stop in southern Colorado at Nolan's parents' house. They have over 100 acres down here, and that's where we were storing the RV at the time.
And that's actually where we are right now and where this story takes place. So we had parked the RV at the base of the mountain and we drove up all the way, it's probably about a half mile or so up to the house, and we were sleeping in the house all together, kind of in the basement, just kind of camping out in the basement of their house. They were actually out of town and not arriving until the next couple of days. So we had gone to sleep. The trailer was down at the bottom of the mountain, and we woke up the next morning, and originally I had woken up kind of early dawn, kind of right before daylight, still dark outside. I woke up, I saw that Hudson was gone, but I turned and saw Amanda was gone too, and in my sleepy haze I assumed she was with him and they had to go to the bathroom or something of that effect, so I just went back to sleep. Well, come to find out, Amanda had woke up too and made a similar assumption. She had actually moved across the room to the couch, I think, because
I was pregnant with August, and
she was just uncomfortable.
I moved over to the couch and I looked over where Hudson was sleeping, and we had given him a ton of comforter blankets, so I just assumed that he had honestly rolled off the couch and was laying on the floor. Yeah, so in our groggy state, tired. We just it didn't click that maybe he wasn't in the room. So not much longer after that, probably about 30 minutes or so, I actually wake up, I see he's gone. I actually see this time that she's across the room on the couch, and I get up and think I need to go figure out where he is. So I go wandering around upstairs looking for where's Hudson, and I find one of the doors open to the house. There was a door with a broken lock that didn't secure. It's since been repaired, certainly, but the sun was just peeking up over the top of the horizon, and I'm immediately thinking Hudson's not in the house. But I scour the house, and then I go down, I tell Amanda. She of course starts panicking, as any parent would, as any mother would for sure. Nolan comes running down and says, "Hudson's not here, Hudson's gone." Grabs his shoes and takes off running. So I'm waking up, getting Aotl up, I just start freaking out.
Yeah, it was not fun. I was outside doing perimeter search, running around. There's a mountainous cliff on the backside of the property, just probably 50 feet from the house, which is terrifying. There's frequent sightings of animals. My dad has a wildlife cam. He captures footage of bears, of bobcats. One day while he was working, he looked out the window and this bobcat just comes walking by in the snow, looking right at him. Terrifying to think that there's this wildlife and there's these animals. We actually stayed at Lathrop State Park, which is just adjacent to this property, and they told us that there's
2 black bears that live on the property, 2 mountain lions, and 2 bobcats.
So I run outside and I'm looking over this back hill first, thinking, oh my God, I hope I don't find him having fallen off this somewhat of a cliff. And then I don't find him there, and so then I'm scanning the horizon, looking around, get up on top of a rock. I'm trying to see if I can spot him anywhere. Couldn't. So then I start circling the house and getting wider and wider and wider, and I think this is just not producing any results. It's going to take forever. I'm getting exhausted. High altitude mountain air, starting to panic a little bit myself because it's cold outside. I mean, it's like 38 degrees, and Hudson's only wearing his thin little pajamas.
With no shoes.
With no shoes. So meanwhile, Amanda's inside.
I was inside searching the house. Literally, I was opening up everything and screaming for Hudson. Poor little Athen, you know, he was just so small, only a few months old, and he just sees me panicking, screaming. I have all the doors open, and I'm just like losing it. I'm calling all of our family. We called the cops, and I'm praying, honestly, that we're gonna find him.
So the cops in the area are prepped to start doing a search party. I mean, it's over 100 acres of mountain land, freezing temperatures. Meanwhile, I give up on the perimeter and think, you know, we're gonna head down the road. So this is the actual road down which I start heading, and that's that 1.5 mile road. And I go all the way down. Now I jump in the car and go down, and I'm looking to each side, thinking, and what's going through my mind is these animals, and I'm thinking, gosh, am I gonna find him in a horrible state? I'm just having all of these panicky, terrifying experiences, and in these moments, I just can't imagine the pain a parent feels when they actually lose a child. Gives me a lot more of a sense of empathy for those losses. But as we make our way down that road, I'm thinking the further I go down, the more I'm thinking there's no possible way that he made it this far down this mountain. I mean, it's just so far. And this road's actually been regraded and repaved since then. It was a lot more rocky, a lot more stony. I get all the way to the bottom of the mountain, and I see Hudson on his hands and knees out in front of our trailer. He had tried to come down the mountain to go back into the trailer. That's where he'd been living for over a month. That's where he wanted to go on an adventure. So I jump out of the car, I come over, he's on his hands and knees, he's not even crying anymore, he's frozen stiff. So I pick him up, I get him close to my body, wrap him up. I don't even think I had a coat on, but I wrapped him up in my arms, and then I just drove back up the hill holding him. He wasn't crying, he wasn't even shivering anymore, which is terrifying. But so thankful that we found him, got back up to the top of the house, called the doctors, asked, you know, what do we need? Well, first of all, called the search parties off, and then called our family and let them know. I mean, we had people across the country praying for us, terrified for us, family in California, friends all over. It was a terrifying experience, to say the least. But we contacted the doctor, and they basically said, you know, if he's responding,
They gave us a bunch of signs just to look for. As far as his body temperature, we did take that with multiple thermometers.
And he was cool, but he was okay. He was within okay range. So thankfully he wasn't out there too awful long, but I mean, just a thin little pajamas, and he had cactus needles in the bottom of his feet. It was just terrifying. And I was amazed that this little, how old was he? He was just about to turn 3 in February.
Yeah, and
right?
This was
so he was
January
just in the beginning of January. So he wasn't even 3 yet. And he made it all the way down that mountain. And you know, the guilt that you have as a parent, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we didn't check every door. I can't believe but it's life, you know, there's no way to possibly ever check every single thing and to go through that, but you just beat yourself up. Sick to our stomach. It was actually very difficult the first time we came back to my parents' property to relive that. And then this morning I got up early to catch the B-roll to tell this story so that you could kind of see what it looked like. And it was so similar to that morning for me because the temperature was cold. My hands actually turned red by the time I was done. The sun was just peeking up, and it brought me back to that moment, and I relived those emotions and those experiences, and it was just gut-wrenching, terrifying. But this Thanksgiving, we are super thankful to have Hudson with us, to the blessing that he is to our family. Of course, we're thankful for all of our children. We've got more stories we can share about them as well. We hope that you are having a great Thanksgiving with your family, your friends, your loved ones. And do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, just hug your little ones tighter, hug everyone around you, and hope you guys have a happy Thanksgiving.